I spent a year in Thailand. This was about 2 years ago. I think it was '09 to 10.
I went abroad last year, and I went to France in a town called Compiègne. It's an hour north of Paris, and it's about 50,000 people. So it's got its own little chateau, and it's all cute.
I went to Australia in 2010, and I'm American, so if you want to sound like me, go to Australia.
I wanted a challenge. I wanted to kind of step over my comfort zone and just really throw myself in.
I'm studying philosophy, and I have a hard enough time understanding philosophy in English, so I figured if I wanted to keep on track with my degree, I should go to an English-speaking country. So that kind of set me, there's, that kind of limits me quite a bit. So from there, Australia has the Aboriginal population, which is really awesome, and that whole culture was really enticing for me, as well as the beaches and the great weather of Australia.
And so I was like, well, I don't want to do any regrets, I don't want to live with any regrets, so I might as well just go to France.
They asked me where I wanted to go, and my first choice was actually Russia, but they had some issues with exchange students going to Russia a few years prior, so that wasn't on the list. My second choice was actually somewhere in the Middle East, also kind of banned. So I said, give me the hardest place you've got, and they said Thailand.
These reasons I chose Wollongong is because it's got the mountains in the back, these rainforest covered mountains in the back, and then you have like the city at this skinny strip, and then you got the ocean, and it's just great. Good location right next to Sydney, so I was able to go up there to visit, and but I'm not a big city guy by any means, so I'm really glad I didn't go to uni in Sydney, because every time I went up there, I was like, oh god, big city, like I'd drive in traffic, like, oh, it's so annoying, it's just so many humans, and that was, so Wollongong, definitely recommend it for anybody looking to go to Aussie. I'm trying to get all find classes that would transfer, and just sorting out financial aid and visa information, and that it was a lot to worry about.
Things to do with passports and IDs, social security number, references and stuff like that.
But at the same time, it's not like doing homework or something. It's this is for your travel abroad. This is something that's directly impacts you. That's it's, I don't know, it's, so it was hard, but I enjoyed doing it the whole time, and it's something that you can really see the direct benefits of if you study and do the work beforehand. It makes your experience so much better when you are abroad, so I'm grateful for that.
My overall abroad experience was absolutely amazing. It's incredible how much you learn about yourself and about other countries as well. You learn how to deal with people, you learn how to deal with authority, you learn how to deal with yourself in certain ways, because definitely you have to get through this kind of mental state where you're stuck in thinking English and you have to speak in a different language, and you have to kind of get past that. And overall, my experience was definitely the best year of my life. So.
Yeah, a lot of partying, I must say, the first semester I got there. That's a part of study abroad. I think, a huge aspect, meeting people in those social situations often goes hand in hand with drinking and those types of things.
I didn't even notice that I was in Thailand until about 6 months in. That's kind of the strange thing about exchange, is you're there, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on vacation, and then 6 months in, you're like, wow, I'm spending X amount of time here.
A year in immersion is awesome. I love it.
people talking with accents. You're like, oh, who's talking? I'm the foreigner. It's just being a foreigner is the greatest thing in the world, as anybody that's traveled can vouch for.
I got to spend a month in a monastery, and that was amazing. It was definitely the most challenging month of my entire life. There were 200 some odd rules that I had to follow every single day. I spent 8+ hours a day meditating. I only ate about 2 meals a day. And with that being said, I learned a lot, and it was probably one of the most intense experiences of my life, and considering that was what I was really going for, it was probably the peak of my exchange.
My favorite day was Techno Parade, it was this basically a parade where people can participate, and the people walk behind these big trucks with a bunch of huge loud speakers, and there's DJs like David Guetta and Afrojack and Benny Benassi who are just playing on these speakers on these trucks, and then everybody's like behind them just dancing, walking down the streets of Paris, and it was just definitely, the whole culture thing was incredible that day.
And the people in Thailand are absolutely amazing. They have a very strict way of doing things, and with that being said, just being able to go over there, meet, interact with them, they always have a smile on their face. It was just a really great experience. And when I was over there, I got to work with an orphanage for disabled children, and I got to go and teach English and build houses, and it was really, really fun. And while I was over there, these kids had absolutely nothing. I mean, they had maybe 2 pair of clothes, usually not though. Of course, most of them were disabled, and I've never seen such happy kids in my entire life. I mean, they had nothing, and I mean, we laughed and played for 8 hours a day until none of us could stand, and it was amazing.
I had a lot of fun with the accents, as you can probably tell. You know, there's so much of my time over there was spent, yeah, the novelty never wore off. I'd be sitting on the bus, you know, this was like 10 months in, you know, I had 1 more month, and I'd just be sitting on the bus, hear a conversation, and like, oh yeah, they're Australian, like their accent is there.
God, there's so many.
What's the rating on this interview? I don't know, but this is gonna be on the internet.
I was stalked by a pedophile.
I got stranded a couple times. Like up in Sydney, I had to sleep in a garden bed. That was interesting. I was like, I didn't have a wallet. Don't ask me why. I didn't have a phone. Don't ask me why. And trying to find a friend's place that said I could crash at theirs, and just wandered around Sydney, and so lost. Slept in a garden bed, and woke up the next morning, and a friend drove by in Sydney. I mean, huge city.
There was one time when we were, it was me, Pablo, and Greg. There were other exchange students in my town. We went to a party in the winter. It was seriously the coldest day that whole year, and the coldest night. And so the party was in this town 3 kilometers away, and it ended because the cops showed up and they're like, "Yo, you're being too loud. You guys need to go home." We didn't have a single ride, so we were chauffeured. I might just say chauffeured by these nice French people at like 4 in the morning. Then we got to Pablo's house. He forgot his keys to his house, and he didn't want to wake up his parents, so we were outside in the cold for 2.5 hours until his dad woke up. And we were actually chilling in his dad's car because that was open. But we had to hop the fence. They ripped their jackets on the way over the fence. Chilled in the car for 2.5 hours, and it was just like, we were just so pissed at Pablo that day.
Not my the most, you know, pleasurable experience out in Aussie, but
I don't even know the crazy experiences. There's so many you're gonna have. It's fun. It's fun.
I don't know if I could say the actual craziest thing that happened to me while I was away, but I was actually over in Thailand during the time of civil unrest, and that civil unrest um, was initiated when I was actually in the monastery, and I had no clue what was going on. I was completely cut off from everything, and as I left the monastery, I picked up a newspaper. As I picked up the newspaper and looked at the picture on the front page, it was of a guy being dragged through the streets with the back of his head blown off. Shortly thereafter, as I was driving home, I saw smoke billowing from one of the nearby streets and learned that there had been bomb threats all over the city and that riots were occurring. I mean, it was pretty crazy, pretty hard to handle. Would I recommend going abroad to other students? Absolutely.
Yes, do it. Now. Don't even hesitate, just do it.
Definitely, definitely. I think it is an invaluable experience. You know, people say, oh, it's too expensive to go, or too you know, like, my major it'll take me too long to graduate. But really, I mean, and that's why it's just such it's teaches you things, and you gain perspectives that you can't learn in the classroom.
Oh my god, yes.
Choose somewhere that's drastically different than here.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's the only way you're going to actually learn.
Try and pick a country with another language.
Les blonds ne savent pas danser, le seul blond qui sait danser est Michael Jackson.
That's a very tangible thing that you can take out of study abroad.
Really, just go out and be there. There will be a lot of times when the people will be uncomfortable. They won't have that many friends. Things will be challenging. They'll have so much on their plate, or they won't have anything on their plate. And feel that uncomfortability. Be uncomfortable. Be like, okay, I'm not happy right now, and I'm gonna go out, make friends anyway. Go out, see this anyway. Go out, travel to this part of the country anyway, and just take that as part of your exchange.
I think every student needs to go abroad. It's just so important. So, if you have any kind of desire in your heart, just definitely go.
Don't be afraid to do something new, because you're gonna have to do it. Don't be afraid to do many new things.
And work hard. You know, once you figure out where you're gonna go, work hard for it, because it's not gonna be an easy time getting out of the country, finding your school and stuff, but it'll make it so worth it. And so yeah, make it happen. If you have a dream, make it happen. Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy! Oi, oi, oi!